In this video, we're looking at roots of unity, which is a unnecessarily fancy way of saying roots of the number 1. We're basically going to learn how to find complex roots of the number 1. The reason for focusing on the number 1 is when we look at complex roots of any complex number, we will be able to use what we learn in this lesson now. So we're going to try to find the cube root of 1. Now, if you're only thinking about real numbers, the answer is just 1. But let's take a step back and say, could we solve z squared equals 1? Well, yes, there are exactly two answers to that. That's z equals 1 or minus 1. If we were to take the trouble to plot those on an Argand diagram, we would get 1 here and minus 1 here. So those are the two square roots of 1, and there really are no other complex square roots of 1 lurking around. But what about the cube root? Well, here's a quite neat way of figuring this out. The number 1 could be written in exponential form as a complex number. What would that be? Well, 1 has a modulus of 1 and an argument of 0. So we could call it e to the 0 pi I. Now, it's a very strange way of writing it, but that is 1. What else could it be? Well, we know that if we take the number 1 and we loop all the way around our Argand diagram and all the way back, we get to the same point. So we could also call the number 1 e to the 2 pi I. Right? An argument of 2 pi is the same as an argument of 0. And for the same reason, we could call it e to the 4 pi I. Now, why are we doing that? Well, we're doing that because we now have three numbers, or really it's just number 1 written in three ways, which we can cube root. Because look, if I cube root these numbers, all I need to do is, well, apply a power of a third to these. Now, when you apply a power of third to this one, I multiply this power by a third, you still just get 0. So that's just e to the 0, which is still 1. But when we apply a power of a third to this one, we get e to the 2 pi I over 3. And then for this one, we get e to the 4 pi I over 3. And these two numbers here, they are not 1. So what are they? Well, we can just express them in modulus argument form. E to the 2 pi I over 3 is cos 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3. Cos 2 pi over 3 is minus 1, and sine 2 pi over 3 is root 3 over 2, so that's plus root 3 over 2i. And now this one here, e to the 4 pi I over 3, if we do the same thing, right, cos of 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi I over 3, we get minus a half minus root 3 over 2i. So we end up with 3 cube roots of 1. The solutions are 1 minus a half plus root 3 over 2i and minus a half minus root 3 over 2i. So there are our 3 complex cube roots of the number 1. And there are no more, because if you continued this further and took e to the 6 pi I, or if you divided that by 3 at this stage, you'd get 6 pi I over 3, which is e to the 2 pi I, which is just 1 again. So it loops round. So there are precisely 2 square roots of 1, happen to just be real numbers, 1 and minus 1, and there are precisely 3 cube roots of 1, which are not all real numbers. Now, where are they on the Argand diagram? Well, one of them is 1. One of them is minus a half plus root 3 over 2i, which is about here. And one of them is minus a half minus root 3 over 2i. And so your 3 complex cube roots of minus 1 are precisely a third of the way round the circle. Just like your square roots are half the way round the circle, your complex cube roots are a third of the way. In fact, if we imagined a circle like this, a unit circle, our square roots divide that circle in 2, and our cube roots divide that in 3. What we actually have here is an angle of 2 pi over 3, another angle of 2 pi over 3, and another angle of 2 pi over 3. And because it's the same angles there, what we actually have, and we'll explore this more later on, is the vertices of an equilateral triangle. So that's neat. So this is the process, and we can actually apply this to finding any root. So let's have a look at finding, say, the fifth roots of 1. Now this one's going to be a bit messier, but it's still the same process. Here's how we do it. We can say, look, z to the 5 is 1. Well, what else can 1 be? Well, 1 can be e to the 0. You can put 0 pi I if you want. 1 is also e to the 2 pi I. And this time we just need 5 of these. So 4 pi I, 6 pi I, all of these are just 1. And then this one gives us 8 numbers to work with. All of them are 1. But now that I take the fifth root of each one, the fifth root of this stays as e to the 0, which is 1. This one, we divide our power by 5, so 2 pi I over 5, and so on. E to the 4 pi I over 5. And these 5 complex numbers are our 5 fifth roots of 1. E to the 8 pi I over 5. We don't need to go up to e to the 10 pi I over 5 because that would be e to the 2 pi I, which is 1. Now, these ones are kind of messy, so I'm not going to do all of them. We're just in the sort of understanding phase. This was not really a typical exam question here. But here's the first one, 1. Now, what is that e to the 2 pi I over 5? Well, if I just work this out, it's cos 2 pi over 5, which is not a particularly nice number. It's sort of 0.309. And then it's I sine 2 pi over 5, which is 0.951 I, and so on. Now, just for fun, actually, let's do all of these because there's an interesting observation here. Okay, so I've written out the 5 roots here. It looks all very messy, but there's something nice to observe here. 1 is kind of its own thing, but look at this. 0.309 plus 0.951 I and 0.309 minus 0.951 I. So this one and this one are complex conjugates. And similarly, if we look at the 2 other ones, this one here is the complex conjugate of this one. Now, you could also say 1 is its own complex conjugate. The point is, roots of complex numbers, including 1 is technically also a complex number, they always come in conjugate pairs. And if we were to plot these on an Argand diagram, just as the case with the cube roots, they're going to come equally spaced out on the unit circle, this time dividing the unit circle into 5 regions. So we have 1 here, and then at an angle of 2 pi over 5 intervals, we get the vertices of a pentagon. And this kind of explains why they are complex conjugates, because that pentagon sitting on its side is symmetrical in the real axis. So that's why you always get these in conjugate pairs. It's not the best pentagon, but you get the idea. So that's roots of unity, which we're going to use in a few videos' time to find roots of any complex number. In the next video, we're going to explore a nice property that all roots of unity, any root, have. So see you there.